What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Real Fans FC, episode 6. We got the whole squad here today, ready to talk some soccer, football from all over the world. How's everybody feeling? Adam, how you feeling, Adam?
Feeling pretty good. We got a lot to talk about. International break's over.
Tyler's
Finally.
back. How you doing?
I'm good.
How you feeling?
On this
We're gonna
20
talk a
and
little bit more about-
35 pick fucking record. I'm trying to turn it around. Started this week.
Let's see if we can do it in these upcoming picks after we get to it. But let's start off with arguably, probably, or not even arguably, the most historic franchise in all of MLS. The one where it doesn't matter, the most globally recognized franchise, no matter where you go. You show this logo and people know what it is, and that is the Los Angeles Galaxy. And this year has led to probably potentially could be one of the worst years ever for the Galaxy. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like kind of the downfall of this whole franchise. This once historic franchise, 6 MLS Cups, the first team to win a continental championship in MLS. And now they have just come across this situation, or the fans have, where their ownership has completely left the building. Their front office has no idea what they're doing. The coach has a lack of awareness in situations. And then this all led to the supporters boycotting. And if you watch LA Galaxy games, you guys check out the highlights, you'll notice that all the supporters are gone. Half the fans are gone. The fans are boycotting the stadium and going to the games. As we all know, they were fined $1 million in GAM, and then $1 million just in general money. And they cannot do any signings in the summer transfer window. So have you guys kept up to date and seen kind of like what's happening over there? Like, I'll start with you, Adam.
Yeah, I watched the highlights for the Galaxy game when they were hosting Seattle, and my goodness gracious, you got to give the fans credit though. I mean, the situation is dire, and they really, really are making it noticeable. I mean, you're watching those highlights, and you're like, where is everybody? If you didn't know what was going on, you'd be confused, and you'd think that they have the worst attendance in the league. Because they don't even have a big stadium, and it's just so, I mean, there's people there, but I mean, there's so many empty seats. So you have to give the fans credit. I mean, they keep this up, and, if the team's going to keep performing the way they're performing, then it'll be easy for them to keep it up. Something's going to have to change, and the owners are going to start to feel it very soon.
I also want to put in perspective here. I have a tweet that came up by Herculez Gomez talking about the LA Galaxy. And since under Chris Klein, which is the vice president of LA Galaxy, he got in charge in 2015. They've missed the playoffs 4 times, have had only 2 playoff appearances, countless terrible deals, and DP signings not working out. And TAM signings not working out. And now 0 trophies, got fined $2 million in total, and have pretty much lost the city of LA.
And wait, this is all since he's been in charge since 2015.
Yeah.
You said? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
Think
it's
about
bad. It's really bad.
They
I mean,
lost
that's
city. They lost the city.
that's
And
a
I
hard
mean-
thing to do when you're a team like LA Galaxy. I mean, you just have that. You're in such a good market. You have the finances. You have that staying power, and the fact that you were able to boast some of the greatest stars, to ever play in the MLS with Beckham and Zlatan. They should have the ability, and the fact that when this group came in and they've been that bad, that, I mean, you can't be that bad on accident. I mean, that's I don't even think I could do that if I tried. That is hard to tank a team like LA, but I mean, it seems like they did. And those are some bad stats that you just told us.
Zlatan came in here and he scored like 50 plus goals in like 50 something games.
And then that was
they
their
only
best,
made
yeah,
that
the
was their
playoffs.
best year in recent years, if I'm not mistaken.
And to be
too.
fair,
And-
Zlatan realized he was still good enough, and then he went back to Europe and still balled out.
It's just crazy to me. He had those crazy, I think, 2 seasons or a season and a half, and they still did nothing with that. I think they barely made the playoffs one of those years.
But the
And
man was
then
out there
obviously-
doing bikes and
Yeah.
hat
We
tricks
all
and shit
know-
left and right.
We all know the horrible signing of Douglas Costa. The dude has been absolutely non-existent since he's gone there. It's been an absolute waste of money. Chicharito hasn't been a bad signing for them. He's been actually pretty productive, but he's been injured. I think this is his 3rd season, still been injured. Ricky Puig came into the second half of the season pretty hot, but then starting this season, he's been kind of non-existent. I don't know how much of that's on him or how much of it's on the team around him, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And you know what? It's also kind of annoying and it kind of bothers me. It's how like this isn't being talked about at all by like MLS media and it's like, this is something that like, I think is worth talking about because one, it brings drama. It's something that's like big. If you want to be this big prestigious league, you have to bring on the drama that comes along with it and talk about it. I mean, we look at all these like top leagues around the world, like some of the biggest reasons why people talk about it is just to talk about things off the field. And I think this is something that's like, unless you like follow MLS intensely, like you would have no idea. Or if you even follow the LA Galaxy, you would have no idea. So it's like, I feel like this should really be talked about because I've heard people say like, it's not really that interesting. It's like, well, it's not that interesting because they're not talking about it. They don't want it to be interesting. They don't want it to like, it's like, no, we should be talking about, and the journalists and everybody should be talking about the mess and the shit show that is going on over there on this historic franchise. I mean, LAFC came in here and pretty much showed them how to run a club and took over the city. And I've been hearing and people saying that like you go to LA, you don't even see Galaxy banners. You see LAFC stuff everywhere. And it's just like such a historic team to then just immediately be kind of like lost everything to this brand new team that's doing everything right. And which it probably makes it even worse, honestly. But yeah.
And the
Yeah,
most
it
money
hurts
LAFC
for them.
spends is on Vela, right? If I'm not mistaken. Which he's not even getting paid that big of a bag compared to like Douglas Costa.
I think even
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is, but I think Costa was actually on like a loan, but he was still like a DP kind of. But I don't know. Like all those signings, it seems like the best thing that's happened to Galaxy is that they were able to transfer the left back Arujo out to Barcelona, and they barely did that too. They think I don't know if you guys remember, like they had like they had to get like I think La Liga or FIFA had to sign off on because it was like 50 seconds past the transfer window deadline or something like that.
That's crazy. I didn't even know.
I don't
that.
know,
that's
I don't know whose fault that was. I don't think it was on the Galaxies though. I think that's more
Probably
of a Barca
Barca.
problem.
They probably didn't
Yeah.
have the money and they pulled it out of who knows where, like they always do.
Yeah, it sounds like a Barca thing.
anything with money related, it's usually Barca, bro, for sure.
But then again, I mean, Galaxy just got fined for all these wrongful signings and like mismanagement of money. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
Juve
know.
too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this whole year.
On an unrelated note, but we're talking about Douglas
Yeah.
Costa, so I figured I might as well throw Juve in
Yeah.
there. But yeah.
But it's just I don't know. It's just they're still winless on the season. I mean, do you guys see them coming back at all? Or I think they missed the playoffs,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, me
for
too.
sure.
Me too.
Which
I
is
don't-
crazy.
Maybe later in the season, but
It's kind of crazy if
And
you
we
think
were-
about it. They're the worst California team. And now that I think about it, San Jose is better than them.
And you know what's crazy? We're coming into the season. We're talking about like, man, who would be like a bigger transfer, like Ricky Puig or
Almada.
Almada, and then like, and then Ricky Puig talking about how he's shooting for trying to be MVP this year and all that. And now it's just like, then again, I mean, it is MLS. We're only I think 6 games in. I mean, with a
Anything can
9-team playoff race, which is stupid, but as
yeah.
long as that's out there, like I guess there's still a chance and there's still time.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, what a shit show! Like and it's wild. But anyways, let's move from one shit show to the other, and that is Inter Miami. So,
Hey, whoa. Best
Inter
team in
Miami started
MLS.
off the season with 2 big wins over Montreal and Philadelphia, but then have conceded to lose 4 straight. And our star player, the big that we all brought over, one of the biggest signings in MLS, Joseph Martinez, has still yet to score. He's only had 3 shots on goal and no goals. I'll start it off with you, Tyler. What do you think's going on with Martinez? Can he bounce back? How can what's going on with Miami?
So I think obviously Phil's running a whole kind of new system with this with the little bit of injuries that we have. Campana is out, so Joseph really needs to step up in that aspect of Campana being out. We don't have Higuain anymore, and then also we lost whatchamacallit recently too. I can't even think right now. Gregory, thank you. And so yeah, I don't know. I think Phil's just trying to adapt to with what he's got, but compared to the first 2 games, which are the only 2 that we've won, I mean, obviously Joseph still hasn't scored shit. He has 3 shots, but I don't really know what else. You know what I mean? Like, I think he needs to just kind of drop back more and not play so forward. Like maybe just get the ball at his feet and let him go to work and not try to like force it to him. I don't really know. Like I don't know if it's the pink hair and it's a curse. He may need to go back to green when he was on Atlanta. Like I'm not even trying to be funny, but really I don't know what's wrong. I mean, this man's been a prolific scorer in MLS countless times, and then he comes to Miami and now he's not doing anything. He's in like a Higuain slump from last year.
Yeah, but that's good that you bring up Higuain, because I was just gonna ask, do you think that it's a similar situation? I mean, we know how good Higuain was, and once the team kind of started playing,
like once we clicked
in sort of identity,
later,
and once they were clicking, then Higuain was able to get those chances and really show that he still got it. Do you think the same thing can be said for Martinez, where it's not exactly his fault and it's the team's fault? Because that's what I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the same thing. Like I said, I mean, Joseph Martinez, if you're a fan of the MLS, in general, everyone knows who he is. I mean, Atlanta, the guy was putting up crazy numbers. He has some of the best goals in MLS history as far as like bikes and stuff like that. The dude can score. It's just a matter of, I think Phil needs to just stick to one system and let it ride out for a few games. You could change your tactics and formations in game, but he needs to stick to the same kind of starting 11 and just stick it out for a few games. Because, like I said, in the later half of last season, when Higuain, like once we started getting clicking, I mean, Higuain was putting up the numbers. It was there, So Joseph just really needs to find his footing, and I think once he does, he'll. He'll prosper for sure.
Just needs that one to open up the bank account.
And honestly, I think Pozuelo was a big factor too. I mean, obviously he was like the engine. He was the one just giving everyone chances for the most part.
You changed the season. We were not making playoffs without that move.
Yeah. And then Pozuelo came in, and you saw what we were doing. I mean, like I said, he was like the engine in our midfield. He was creating all these chances. He has that vision, and I just feel like we don't have a prolific kind of passer like that. Like, we have good passing, yeah, but it's just people don't have that right vision where they see the run before it even happens, like Pozuelo did. So, inexperienced midfield, I think, is killing Joseph.
Yeah, honestly, I think we don't actually have a true attacking midfielder. Yeah. And like you said, Gregory being out has left Jean Mota to play back and not really unlock his full potential and push forward. Which for me, like you were saying, you think Phil should stay at the same formation, but to me, he's been staying at that same formation. It just hasn't been working. I think he needs to actually go to the two striker setup like he said he was. I don't know why he feels the need to wait for Campana. We have other people who can play that position up top with Joseph. And with Gregory being out, because like we all know, like Gregory, he played really deep. He played really deep. At times he would almost be like a center back. And I think it's time to go to a back three, back five, whatever you want to call it, because constantly Yedlin and Negri are constantly being.
They're already up there. I see what you mean. Yeah, you might as well just run a 3-back and let Negri and
because
play
they're
right mid
the
and left mid essentially. I see what you mean. Yeah, because they're already up there.
And that's what happened in the Chicago game. Was just they got left exposed. They got left exposed in the back. They couldn't get back in time. I get that they both have engines, but like, I mean, you don't have a true left back replacement at the moment. So it's like they're going to be gassed by the 90th minute. So do you really want to play this game of like forcing them to come back constantly with a 2-striker setup? Because then you're just leaving McVay and Kristoff on like 3v2s constantly, which is what happened. So I think you got to go to a back three. You got to bring in like a Sailor or I don't want to even say it, but Mabika. But probably I like Sailor more. I think Sailor's better.
Yeah, you would. I mean, at this point, if you're gonna go into that back three, you would just need to bring in whoever is better on the ball.
Yeah, and see, Phil being a natural defender in his playing days, I would think that he would want the defense to be turn defense into offense. I would feel like he would want the defense to be a 10 out of 10 every game, and fuck it, if we draw, we draw. I mean, it's still a point, but at the same time, like I'd rather have a 10 out of 10 defense and turn that into offense on counterattacks and shit like that.
Well, that was the thing that he was doing last year, and I think he was playing it safe, but it didn't work out, and then eventually changed it. And you can tell this year he wants to go so much more attacking, and I don't know if he's because he feels the need that like maybe his job's not safe and he needs to put up points.
Yeah.
But it's like you take the draws sometimes. And he did do that at times last year. You would take the draws. Like you need those points at the end of the day. Like that Chicago game, that's a point you missed.
A game, that's a game that we should win, let alone get 1 point. But that's a game we should win.
And I want to see Jean Mota, because to me, Jean Mota has had a really good season so far, even though the past few games he's been out of position. But like the games he was in position, he's looked really good. He's been dropping dimes. He's been making progressive passes. And I want to see him push forward more. Pizarro's looked better. I still think he holds onto the ball too much. He's still kind of, I find him annoying. And then if you want to put in a Duke or your Stefanelli, probably Phil, if they were to go there, I don't see them taking out Stefanelli, even though I don't like Stefanelli. I don't think he's good. I really think he should get benched. He's shown absolutely nothing to me.
He gives up a lot of easy positioning, like as far as like he'll leave a gap and then it just creates so much space. So I noticed that against Chicago, the last home game, because I was like I was there with someone, so I didn't even like work. So I was pretty much watching, and like Stefanelli, I would notice like I think Duke threw it into him like by the corner flag, and like Stefanelli like passed it back and then just like left the play and just left a big ass hole, and they just took it right back. I was like, oh, good.
I do want to bring this up because I was actually listening to another Miami podcast talk about this, and I thought it was interesting. Is that, and I noticed it after rewatching like highlights and pieces of the game again, is that that Chicago game we had 62% possession, but like we did absolutely nothing with it. We weren't dangerous at all. It was just playing Spain ball. It was just like back and forth. Yeah. And then like it seems like with Joseph, like with he's not scoring, he's not really making those breaking runs either. And for me, I always thought, okay, maybe it's just Joseph not getting the service. But then when I kind of look back on it, Joseph's backs to the goal a lot.
Yeah, he's playing a lot like a target man.
He's playing a lot like Campana was. That's how Campana is. I think that's Campana's like especially. He's not really Campana doesn't really have the speed. So Campana's like you put it up to him, let him trap it, take it down, and he'll do what he needs to do.
It's like Lewandowski. Lewandowski at Bayern always did that. He was just a target man. You give it to him at his feet, and he would just turn it into goals.
And I think Joseph, I don't know if it's just something he's told by Phil. Like you notice they're just passing the ball back a lot. And I don't know if this is not a tactical, but just like something, I guess a tactical sense. Like, is this Phil telling them to do this or what? I don't know. The rumblings are coming around that people are like, want to fire Phil. I'm kind of on that board. I feel like Phil is too slow to make changes. And And I've been a big Phil defender. I'm like, no, you don't want to fire him too quickly, but he's still doing the same shit he's been doing for 2.5
He's
years
not
now
adjusting. Yeah.
of like not adjusting, playing players out of position, not knowing how to play with the players that you have. And it's kind of getting like
He's just not playing MLS
frustrating.
speedball either. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like if he made the defense a 10 out of 10 every game and then turn those into counterattacks where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you have 3-on-2s and shit where Joseph can just run in the open field. I feel like it will produce the goals. It may not happen every single time, but we'll definitely get more goals and more shots on target than we do now.
especially since you don't have a 10.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know why he's not just keeping the defense at a 10 out of 10 every game, where you're just playing more defensive and then turning defense into offense. Yeah, that's what
I mean,
he needs
dude,
to do.
Yeah.
Negri's looked like the most dangerous attacking player, and he's a defender.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not just put a back three? Let him just stay up there, play mid, and then like when you don't have ball,
You have Yedlin and them up there anyways. It's like they're not even playing their natural positions.
It's like let him break the line. Let him do. I don't know. There is talks that potentially Campana will be back. Who knows? Then again, they always say that Campana might be back, but Inter Miami.
Yeah, they were saying he should be back last week, and they didn't even have him in the squad. So
then he should have been back the week before. I don't know. I don't know this like weird game Inter Miami plays with injuries where they won't like actually tell you. It's kind of stupid to me. It's like it's not any. I don't see the competitive advantage. Like I don't know. Like that's just me. But
I think too. Just on the last thing of this subject, we're talking about like strikers for Inter Miami. You know what I mean? I like what you said. Go into the 2 striker formation and then having Mota and Joseph up there. And even whenever you take one or the other off,
Mota wouldn't be up there. I mean,
well, yeah, but I mean,
you mean like him playing more forward?
Yeah. Or I mean, you can even have him just play like Cam, and then you could do Joseph being your like get forward striker, like where he does forward runs, and then you have our homegrown dude that's 6'6".
Borgelin.
Yeah, you have Borgelin play like a target man where you just give it to him at his feet, or just give him like crosses and let him head it or some shit.
I wonder why Phil won't pay LaCava. Like he put up so many goals in USL for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Why not give him a shot? But if Campana's back, I don't think he should start. I think he should come in off the bench, or if he is going to start, let him only play a half.
Don't risk injury.
Yeah, but if not, put in Borgelin, put in somebody, put in Coco, maybe even throw Stefanelli up there. If you're going to put him in as like a 9, a secondary 9, like you said, second striker. And then just have your 3 midfielders as just all 8s, like just Mota, Duke, and Pizarro, or maybe a Robert Taylor in there, because I still like Robert Taylor, even though I don't think he's a regular starter. He's a perfect super sub to me. Like I think he brings a lot of class to it. But
goal of the year already.
Yeah, potentially. Let's go into CONCACAF Champions League was back yesterday. 2 big MLS games. Only one game, and then what's it called? Philadelphia played Tuesday. Philadelphia played Atlas, won 1-0 in Philly, and then last night LAFC gave Vancouver the shellacking at Vancouver, a 3-0 defeat. Did you guys get to check any of those games? I missed the Philly Atlas game. It was something I kind of predicted because Atlas is a very weak Mexican team right now. But it looks like we're looking towards a LAFC Philly rematch in the Champions League semifinals.
I agree, and I think LAFC have to be considered the favorites there. Philadelphia have been struggling. They just barely got a 1-0 win against the 10-man side. But I did get to catch the LAFC Vancouver game, and what a goal from Dennis Bouanga. Wow, that was a banger. That first goal that he scored.
The next superstar.
I mean, absolute screamer. He's been on fire. Like you said the other day, I think you mentioned that he has how many goals in all comps?
Last night he now has 8 goals in 8 games, 9 goals in 10 games.
Wow.
The dude has been unreal in MLS and in in Champions League. He's the top contender for MVP race right now. He has been unstoppable, really. LAFC as a whole has just been so strong.
Yeah,
I'll
not
pull
even
up
just this year, just the past few years. Like they're just, I don't know, they're doing something right over there for sure.
Yeah, they're defending MLS Cup champions, and they sure are playing like it.
The team to
pull up
beat.
the
as
bracket
always.
here, and you can see here. So Tigres has beat them 1-0 on the first leg, and then Leon just absolutely demolished that Haitian team 5-0, which Austin should have done, but they couldn't get it done.
Somehow.
So it looks like we're going to see pretty much an MLS versus Liga MX final, because I don't see there any way Atlas coming out on this side of the bracket, and the Honduran and the Haitian team are most likely not going to come out. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. We obviously talk a little bit more, but I think we all think that we're going to see a Philly LAFC semifinal, and then probably a Liga MX final. But who do you guys have going to the final coming out of the MLS right now out of the three?
LA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
think
even
LA
know
can top Philly?
why. Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
for sure, absolutely.
You know,
Like Adam
Yeah,
said, I
we
mean,
talk-
bro, they struggled to get 1 point. I mean, 3 points against a 10-man squad. So that's tough.
yeah, I mean, we talked a little about it yesterday, and it's like, man, not yesterday, last week. It's like, man, Philly just they don't look as strong as everybody thought they were going to be coming in.
They
They
don't,
came
and I
in
mean,
the
I
first
think
game.
it goes
Go
to
ahead.
show you how weak Miami's 2 wins seem now. I mean,
Yeah.
at home against Montreal and against Philadelphia, who aren't the team that anybody thought they were.
And it's crazy because they really didn't even lose anybody too. But I mean, it's the same thing with like the Phillies too in baseball. I mean, they just got their first win against the Yankees yesterday or 2 days ago. So I mean, it's like all these Philly teams that were just like in the championship of their sport is like struggling going into the next
That's
season.
crazy. I never brought that up, or in the other podcasts or whatever. We never brought that. It's like, Philly, all their teams made it to the finals this past. Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. The Phillies made it
Yeah.
to the World Series.
The 76ers were the only
Union-
one that didn't make.
Yeah, and they were a top playoff team, but they all lost. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
That's
Philly lost 3 major sports trophies in a matter of I think it was 68 days, because all the Super Bowl, the MLS Cup, and all that were all
and the World
super
Series.
close to
Yeah,
each other. Yeah,
that makes sense.
that's
It's
crazy,
crazy.
bro. But
But,
even
yeah, I'm
so, not to get off topic, but I think even the Eagles losing both their coordinators and shit, I think the Eagles honestly aren't going to be that good like they were last year, because they just lost their whole coaching staff pretty much. So
Follow
But
Real
we'll
Fans
see.
podcasts about any other football news. But yeah, I think obviously Tigres is going to come out the other side. From what I'm hearing, I don't really follow Liga MX, but obviously Tigres is the most expensive, highest transfer market value team in CONCACAF right now. I believe around 70 million in total team, or somewhere around there. But apparently the manager, a lot of people do not like the way he's handling that team. They're saying it's like a blind person with a Ferrari. They don't really know.
Oh my god!
Who the hell made that expression?
Wow.
I heard that. I literally saw that on Twitter somewhere, and I was
I
like,
gotta
because I haven't
find
watched it. Because I haven't
Oh my God.
watched any of the I watched Tigres versus Orlando, and honestly, Orlando should have beat them. And Orlando's not a good squad. So I'm honestly thinking LA might win it all, because this is going to be a rematch from, I believe, 2019 Tigres versus LAFC in that Champions League final, but LAFC lost in the second leg. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. If MLS can get back-to-back CONCACAF Champions League victories, that'd be pretty big for the league. That's pretty wild. And then also League's Cup coming up. But
And they have a chance to do it. So I think this is a season where you would have to expect, if we're going to get, getting a first CONCACAF Champions League for the MLS last season, and you arguably have a favorite this season too.
Yeah, especially if people are what they're saying is true that the Tigres coach doesn't have no idea what he's doing with the players that he has. Could be interesting. I do think that semifinal though between LAFC and Philly is going to be one for the books. So that's going to be a really good game, even though they haven't performed well in MLS so far. I still think it's going to be a really really good game. A shame though that Vancouver completely fumbled the bag in the course of 10 minutes, literally, because
Oof.
that game was a pretty big back and forth. And then Bawanga just flexed his muscles, got that deep goal from, like Adam, you were saying, like hella deep. I mean, he just chipped that right over into the top, right off the post, and went in. And then the other one to the top of the net.
Yeah, it was
insane.
a brilliant goal.
But let's get into our match day 7 predictions for the MLS, and then we'll hop over
Yes,
across the pond.
As Julian pulls those up, we have big developments in the record for this week. Julian went 6-8. I went 8-6, and Tyler went 5-9. So the total now, me and Julian are tied. 32 correct picks, 37 incorrect picks, and Tyler, having missed episode 2, has less picks, 20 and 35 total.
Ugh.
You'll get there. I made the comeback, so can you.
I feel like man, I started off those first 2 weeks so strong, and now this like second, like ever since that, I've just been absolutely doing awful. I had a little bit of a bounce back game this past week. I guess I went 6-8, so let's see if we can have a better week this week. You know, as the season develops, we'll start to figure out who's who. But even then, man, even when you do think the better team's going to win, they still just lose somehow. It's fucking wild. It's impossible. I do not recommend betting on MLS. It is impossible to predict. It's so much fucking parody. It's insane, but kind of funny and fun at the same time.
Shit, it's not focused. It's
just
not
bright.
Yeah, it's my
great.
All right, let's go into the first game. FC Cincinnati versus Philadelphia. FC Cincinnati plus 110. Philadelphia plus 210 as the away dog, with the draw being plus 230. I feel like Cincinnati's been getting out by the skin of their teeth lately. They've been barely winning these games, but they are at home. And Philly still hasn't looked that as strong as we thought they were going to be. I'm going to go Cincinnati. They're still, I believe, at the top of the East right now, or if not top 3. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati here.
Yeah, I agree. Philly has been struggling, and Cincinnati, even though they haven't really clicked, they are a solid team, and they're still getting consistent results.
Bremer's going to get his, yo. I'm going Sin City.
All right. New York City versus Atlanta United. New York City minus 115. Atlanta plus 260. The draw being plus 250. Obviously, New York City has that heavy home field advantage where they play on a soccer field. I mean, no, they wish they played on a soccer field. They play on a baseball field. They play on a baseball field. It's hard to pick New York pick against New York at home. I'm going to go New York for the win here, even though Atlanta's the better team.
Oof.
I'm gonna go draw. I think New York has that advantage, but I don't think they're good enough, and I think Atlanta are a good enough team to make it difficult for New York at home.
All right, draw. Sorry, I'm just writing this down as we go. My bad. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna go Atlanta. I mean, I see what you mean about the baseball, Yankee Stadium for sure. I can understand how it can fuck you over, but I think with the international break being over and Atlanta having their, powerhouse squad back that they have, I'm going ATL here.
All right, we all got a split decision on that. All right, DC United versus Columbus. DC United plus 155 at home. Columbus plus 150 away, with the draw being plus 230. I'm going to say Columbus gets a road victory here. They're getting a lot of their players back, and I think they're just the better team right now.
Yeah,
I don't think
and they've looked
super
solid
strong
as of
at
late.
home.
Yeah, DC haven't been very good, and Columbus, they've been looking much better recently, so I agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm going Columbus Crew as well. DC just they ain't it. They'll somehow manage to beat Inter Miami though. So, but yep, I'm going Columbus.
All right. Now we got Inter Miami versus FC Dallas. Inter Miami as the home favorites. No, actually, yeah, the home favorites plus 115. FC Dallas, the road dogs, plus 210, with the draw being a plus 230. So I'm going to go draw here. I think Inter Miami has still averaged 2 goals scored at home, and FC Dallas' defense has been very susceptible. I saw a stat. FC Dallas has allowed a goal in the last 12 games.
Oh my god!
So they have obviously a very stout attack with their 2 8s and Leggett and then they have Velasco, Jesus Ferreira, and Paul Areola. Very strong attack, but they still lack cohesion in the back. And I see a draw here because Inter Miami's the same way. And honestly, I don't know if Phil's going to run the back 5 or not. I feel like if he does run the back 5, it makes it even more likely. But I'm going to go draw here. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Interestingly, I'm gonna pick Inter Miami because I feel like at home, there's if we're gonna get the dub, it's gonna be at home, at least at this point. And I feel like the team, and especially Phil, they're starting to really feel the pressure now. I think losing another one would be devastating, and I think that they're gonna do everything they can to avoid that and get the 3 points.
And Dallas is known for giving up leads. They've been giving up leads the past few games. They're 2-2-2. So
All right, well, back to me, huh? I usually pick Inter Miami every single week, but God, have I shot myself in the foot every single week. I'm gonna agree with Julian. I'm gonna go draw and play it safe. I do get your point though, Adam, as far as at home. I feel like that'd be the time for us to actually win a damn game. But against Chicago, even, I don't know.
Yeah.
That one was just terrible for me to watch. I can't trust them going.
I will
2
say,
weeks
if
after
Miami
that at home.
If Miami gets a back 4, if I look at that lineup 40 minutes before the game and it's a back 4, we lose that game. But I think Phil's actually going to change it up. So I think it's going to be a draw.
I think he has to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say draw too. I agree with that point. That is a very good point, actually. But Phil never surprises me either. Harvey Neville will start at striker, I'm sure, some shit. So.
Probably. And Romeo Beckham will come back. All right, LAFC versus Austin. LAFC at home minus 195. Austin plus 420 away, and with the draw being a plus 330. LA's too hot. LA's not going to stop. They're going to win. They're unbeatable at home. Austin has been disappointing this season so far to start the season. Don't think they'll bounce back this game though, but I think they will. But LA's got this.
Yeah. This is one of the easier games to pick this week. LA for sure, and the odds, I mean, they tell the story there.
I'm going LA, and I'll even go as far as to say LA wins 3-0. That's how confident I am in LA.
Austin's still a good team. They just, I don't know. I think once it clicks for them, it's going to click. I could see them once they get one win, they're going to go on a streak. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
All right. We got New York Red Bulls versus San Jose Earthquakes. New York Red Bulls at home minus 155. San Jose Earthquakes plus 360, with the draw being a plus 270. Having to travel across the country. I think New York has way more talent, especially young talent. I think they're going to get the job done here with a win.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a tough road trip for San Jose. New York, especially at home, I think they should be able to pull out the win here.
Sorry to all my San Jose fans, but you know how I feel about y'all. I forgot you guys were even a team the last episode that I was on, so I'm going Red Bulls.
No respect to Landon Donovan. All right. New England versus CF Montreal. New England minus 115 at home. CF Montreal plus 260 away, with the draw being at plus 250. Montreal skid continues. They lost 4-0 against Vancouver this past week at Vancouver. Now they have to fly right back over across the country in a pretty strong New England team. I'm going New England for the win here.
Yeah, Montreal are very bad away. They're just coming off a pretty bad loss.
Beat down
And yeah,
against a mid-table team.
yeah, and New England have been solid. I don't think they've been incredible, but they definitely deserve to be in third place. And Montreal at home should be very easy matchup for them.
Yeah, I'm going New England too. Montreal just, I mean, I said it. I think after we beat them, they're not the same team they were last season at all. So I for sure got New England in this one.
All right, Chicago versus Minnesota. Chicago's actually favorites in this game. Chicago minus 130 at home. Minnesota plus 300 away, with the draw being plus 360. These odds really surprised me, especially being that Minnesota is actually the only team left to not lose, I believe. Yeah,
Yes, you are correct. Minnesota this season, they have gone win, draw, win, draw, win. Last win coming against St. Louis, giving them their first loss.
I didn't even know they were
history.
undefeated, actually.
Yeah, their first.
Yeah,
they
the-
gave
they
St.
don't-
Louis their first
That's
loss
crazy.
in club
That-
history,
okay.
and they
Yeah,
did it on the road. I like that from them. I mean, it's a tough game for sure. My gut wants to say draw, but I gotta give Minnesota some respect, and I'm gonna pick them.
I will say they're not the only team without a loss. LAFC also does not have a loss as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
LAFC and
Yeah,
Minnesota
that
are
makes
the only two teams without losses.
Yes, now St.
So-
St. Louis is not in that crew anymore.
But Minnesota's still missing their star man, Manuel Reynoso. Chicago has actually kind of turned it up a little bit. I'm going to go draw here at home. I am surprised that the odds are that heavy in favor for Chicago, but I'm going to go draw.
I agree too. That the odds, I thought for sure that Chicago would be the underdog in that scenario, but I don't know. I mean, ever since they beat us, yeah, I would say they have been playing definitely better ball. So
I mean, the last 5 matches for Chicago has been draw, loss, draw, win, draw. So
yeah,
they've been drawing like crazy.
I'm gonna go draw 2 and play it safe, and then yeah. Adam, you said you got Minnesota in that one?
I do, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm writing down the right shit.
Adam's gonna make some money. Plus 300. All right. Now we got Nashville versus Toronto. Nashville, the home favorites, minus 165. Toronto, the away dogs, plus 390, with the draw being a plus 290. I'm going to do Nashville at home. Nashville's a really strong home team. They grind it out. Toronto has been kind of getting by the skin of their teeth as well. So
yeah, aside from the
Inter
Miami win, they've been seeing a lot of draws. They're again, aside from Inter Miami, they drew Charlotte, they drew San Jose, they drew Columbus, and they drew Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of draws for them.
And Nashville's very stout defensively.
Nashville, I think Nashville have been very impressive, and they're definitely clicking at this point. And I'd be surprised if they didn't win.
Yeah, I got Nash too. Y'all know my king is there, so my MLS go.
He's going to take down Landon Donovan. All right. Kansas City versus Colorado. Kansas City minus 135. Colorado plus 310, with the draw being a plus 270. Give me Kansas City at home.
Yeah, even though Colorado.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Colorado. They did shock with a draw against LAFC, although it was at home. which even for Colorado, who I think are one of the worst teams in the league,
No, this is definitely the
You know,
poo-poo
I
bowl.
think that
These
was
are the
kind of a
worst
shock.
two teams in the league.
yes, definitely.
Sporting
But
KC
I
is 28th.
it'll be.
Colorado's
I said
29th.
this every week. It'll be a cold day in hell until I pick Colorado. So KC is my pick.
It'll be a cold day in Colorado.
Wait a second.
Plus two, bro. Playing Colorado, bro. It's like you would think that they would have home field advantage every single game because of how like elevated that state is. Like you would think that they would have like
No one
this
talks about
big-ass-
that. Yeah.
yeah. Like you would think
Yeah,
that they
they
have
can't
this
even-
big ass
oh my goodness.
advantage, bro. Like I don't see how they play so poorly like at home.
Like they talk about the
Agreed.
South having the humidity advantage. I don't think to me the humidity advantage isn't shit compared to the altitude advantage.
Yeah,
Like
because
that
your
is
lungs.
drastically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, this is definitely the poo-poo bowl of the week. 28th and 29th place teams. But Tyler, who do you have? Kansas City. We all got Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City for sure. Like Adam.
Kansas City has been putting up impressive draws though. Like I don't know. They just can't like connect fully though.
That's
But
my new saying though. It'd be a cold day in Colorado before I pick Colorado.
which is always.
Even the Broncos too. Fuck 'em. I'm not choosing them
All
ever.
right. All right. Houston Dynamo versus the LA Galaxy. Houston plus 135 at home. LA Galaxy plus 165 away, with the draw being a plus 230. Both two teams that are kind of struggling at the moment.
Another poop.
You know, I think LA gets their first win this season in this game right here, even though they're away. I don't think Houston is going to be strong enough to really stop them. I think they finally get a victory here.
I can see that. I don't know. I just think with both teams and their struggles, I am just leaning draw here. So that's what I'm gonna go.
God, this is a tough one. My mind wants to say draw, but I feel like Ricky Puig is over this winless shit, to be honest. So I don't know. I'm gonna play it safe and say draw though, because I really need to get my record back on track here. So I'm just gonna say draw. I'm gonna trust my gut. Watch Ricky Puig score a hat trick now. Watch.
All right. All right. Real Salt Lake versus Charlotte. Real Salt Lake minus 110. Charlotte plus 260, with the draw being plus 250. I'm going to go Real Salt Lake here. Charlotte's gotten worse.
They have, but you know what? I'm gonna pick Charlotte. I think they're gonna get a shock away win because that's the only time they seem to get their shock wins. So I'm gonna go against the grain here and just say, hey, Charlotte's gonna get one.
It's crazy how much worse they got. I mean, they actually were like
Yeah.
fighting for a playoff spot last year, and now they've just like looked.
They had a
terrible.
decent start. It's very interesting how it turned out.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take the medium and take a draw here.
All right. Vancouver Whitecaps versus Portland. Vancouver minus 120. Portland plus 260, with the draw being plus 270. Portland has been plagued with injuries since the first two games of the season. Vancouver,
According to
Vancouver's
FOTMob,
they've been a very
Portland
up
have
and down
1,
team.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 injuries listed on FOTMob. for
Two of those
Portland.
being DPs.
Mm-hmm. It's
So-
man, this is so interesting. Draw.
Yeah, Sebastian
know, this one-
Blanco, Jimmy Chara, Evander, like Diego Chara, like it's crazy. Oh wait, no, my bad, not him. But either way, yeah, that's so many injuries. I think Vancouver's,
And
even though they're up and
yeah.
down team, I think they're better.
Yeah, and that's
Come
why
on.
I'm picking draw here. This one's just very tough, and I think with the injuries, it's just so hard to predict.
Okay, draws. Okay, interesting. Tyler?
What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take Vancouver in this one too. Honestly, I like Portland. I always have, but I'm gonna go Vancouver.
All right. Final game of the night, Seattle Sounders versus St. Louis City SC. Seattle minus 160, St. Louis plus 350, with the draw being plus 300. Two top teams, 1 and 2 in the Western Conference right now. I think Seattle gets this at home. I think St. Louis goes back-to-back losses here. I think reality
Yeah.
finally sinks into them.
I agree, and I don't think it's because maybe that last loss was a little tough for them, but this is a hard game away. Seattle,
And Jordan
like we've
Morris
said
is
many
on
weeks.
fire.
Yeah, like we said, Seattle recent weeks they've been back, and at home it's always a very, very, very tough, one of the toughest away days you can have. So St. Louis, I think, are gonna also get. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're also gonna lose and get their second loss of the season. But I still think they're a
Yeah,
good team and they'll be all right.
Jordan Morris is in the Golden Boot race right now. He has 8 goals in 6 matches.
Wild.
Someone tell Clint Dempsey to run me my money, baby, because the Cinderella story continues in St. Louis.
It bounces back. It was just they tripped, but they're
Yeah,
back.
the glass slipper fell off. All right, it's back on the foot
Had to-
though. St.
had to
Louis is
put it
pulling
back
the-
on.
Yeah,
They put it
even though
on.
Seattle definitely has like the best fans in my opinion, but
Yeah.
the Cinderella
All
story
right.
continues.
Those are our picks for the week. So let's see who wins next week and see if we get any better. I honestly feel really good about my picks. Like I feel like I think we're at a point where we're getting a really good understanding of who's who.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that
But anyways-
international break week definitely hurt us as well. I'm gonna
That-
keep
I-
saying
I
that. That
blame
was
that.
very. That really. It really was. If you look at the picks, it was like 50-50 at best.
100%. All right, let's hop over across the pond and let's start with England in the English Premier League. We got a big matchup this weekend. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Arsenal still continuing to try to stay ahead in the table. 8 points behind Manchester City. This is a really big matchup right now against a Liverpool side. How you feeling, Adam? Because since you are a resident Arsenal diehard fan, how you feeling coming in this matchup?
I'm nervous. Definitely nervous because we are going to Anfield. And Liverpool, yes, they've been struggling recently, and we'll talk a little bit about their recent struggles. But it seems to be a way that they have those issues at home. It's going to be more of a struggle. I hear that last week against Chelsea, they didn't have Van Dijk, and it was due to illness. He'll be back, so that's always a worry. But this is really getting serious for the league here, and I would definitely rate Arsenal to win it, but it's going to be stressful. It's going to be tough. And you know what? At this point in the season, I've been very, very, very cautious about Arsenal. But if we can beat Liverpool in Anfield, then I will finally be on board with this whole title thing, and I'll finally actually believe that it's possible.
What's
because
funny
even
too,
now I'm
that
still
you're-
like.
I was gonna say it's funny too that you're like that because I was literally just like this past couple of days I've been watching a couple YouTube videos, people talking about like if Arsenal can keep the lead in the table and not let City catch up, and like man, every single person was like, I don't know, like no one was confident. no, not a single person.
When you have City chasing you and it's within reach, you have to be worried.
No, yeah,
And,
understandable.
some
It's
of the
just
Arsenal results this year have been pretty miraculous. So a lot of people are starting to believe because of that. They're kind of seeing parallels to when City, they would pull some miraculous wins out to close the gap and win the league.
no, yeah.
So
I could
see the parallels, but Liverpool definitely want to turn it around. They just came off a 0-0 draw to Chelsea and a bad loss to City. I was hoping they could do something, but of course they had to give us a good old psych by scoring first and then just absolutely blowing it. So this is the last time I asked Liverpool to do something nice for me. Fuck off, Liverpool. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But But I'm seeing, with Liverpool's struggles and with Chelsea's struggles, there's two teams that actually have a shot at Europe, and that's Aston Villa and Brighton. They're kind of just hanging in there right behind United and Tottenham, who aren't having the best of years either.
Oh, don't forget about Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle's doing good though. Newcastle's doing good. And of course they got all that money. So
Yeah, Newcastle's having a really good season.
Liverpool's hiccups have definitely called into question this whole, how this whole end of the season is gonna end up. But I'm sorry, it doesn't really matter how bad Liverpool is when this is two top teams, in terms of stature,
Yeah,
and you're playing at Anfield. It's gonna be an interesting game. It's not gonna be like, I would hope. Yeah, trust me, I would love a nice little 3-0, 3-1, 4-1 type win at Anfield, just to be like, oof.
Look at what Liverpool did to United at Anfield. Perfect example. 7-0 after United just came off of a win the week before that.
Yeah, and then,
they've been so up and down.
Liverpool turn around. And then Liverpool turn around and they struggle against the City and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So this is so wild right now.
At Anfield, though. But,
you cannot doubt Liverpool at Anfield. Although just the way the season's been going, I think you have to pick Arsenal, but it could go either way.
Tyler, how are you feeling about this matchup?
Oh, I agree. It's definitely going to be tough. It's definitely a test for Arsenal for sure. With how hot their season's been, and you're coming in to a somewhat struggling Liverpool as far as like not being top 4 in the league on the table, shit like that. Jurgen Klopp's having his struggles as a manager, so it's definitely tough. But at Anfield, to doubt Liverpool is a tough statement, because you never go into Anfield thinking like, okay, this is gonna be an easy one ever. I don't give a fuck if the whole starting 11's injured. They still will play for the badge at Anfield. Trust me.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, the talent is still undeniable. It's like, they are where they are, but it's like just one of those seasons.
They just had struggles. You can't be the best every year. So.
It's still a talented team nonetheless. But I think Arsenal's going to get it done. I just feel like they have so much more to play for than what Liverpool's doing, and like you said, it's a big game you can't miss, because if Arsenal they drop this game, Man City goes on to win, and now you have a big matchup in the next couple of weeks, Arsenal versus City, and you lose that game, then they're back in the hunt, just 2 points away.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely needs to get at least 1 point. From this Anfield game, they need to get at least 1 point. The win.
I would like 3, because I want to be able to afford to lose against City.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the win is ideal. Yeah, because then you have a little bit of leeway, but a point is what you need to at least hope for going into this, for sure. Like a point is like, okay,
yeah, you got to come.
We didn't get the result we wanted, but at least we got a point, and it gives us a bigger stretch. You know what I mean? But Arsenal's doing all this to meet Bayern in the Champions League next year, just to get knocked out again, 10-2. So,
all right, let's talk about another big matchup.
Adam, I'll never let that one go until you guys play Champions League ball again. That's the last time you.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
All right, let's talk about another really big game coming this weekend. Is Tottenham versus Brighton. Adam mentioned it briefly a second ago about how Brighton and Aston Villa could potentially sneak into the Europa League qualification. As the table stands right now, Tottenham has a plus 12 goal differential with 29 games played and 50 points. Brighton has 46 points plus 17 goal differential with 27 games played, and Aston Villa 29 games played minus 1 goal differential with 44 points. So for me, I think Aston Villa is a little too far away to kind of catch up to Tottenham and get into that Europa League spot. But I will say this Brighton and Tottenham matchup is a really big indicator of like what's going to happen for that final 5th spot, because this is a really big matchup. Brighton does have 2 games in hand over Tottenham. If they can get a victory here, bring them in within 1 point, and then you have a game in hand is pretty big. Tottenham has been kind of like up and down this season, but yeah, what do you guys?
They just came off of a really good game though.
Yeah.
Especially Son. Son played out of his mind. Obviously, you never doubt Harold Kane either, being obviously club and country top scorer.
But
So-
their last 6 games have
Yeah, no,
have
the
not looked
results
good in
definitely.
Prem.
Yeah, the results
you,
for
you
sure.
draw you draw Everton, you draw Southampton, you do beat Nottingham, but ignore the Champions League. You lose to Wolves. You even though it's FA Cup, you lose to Sheffield United. But then
who's a
after that,
championship team. So yeah,
then after that, you do beat Chelsea. But that loss to Wolves and then the draws to Southampton and Everton did really set them back because those are games that you should beat, especially the Southampton and Everton games. Those are two teams that are struggling in relegation battles that you should not be drawing
giving up
against.
a point. Yeah,
Total-
you should
yeah.
not be giving up a point period to those teams for sure. So yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I do think still Tottenham, they have like kind of a powerhouse attack. I feel like if they just click early on, like out of the gates, I feel like Tottenham definitely pulls that one away. But I mean, it's definitely interesting to see. That's one thing I love about this season so far is there's just a lot of changes, like as far as like the top 4 and then even like the middle of the table. It's just teams that aren't normally there that are in those spots. So it's kind of nice.
There's a lot
like,
of people fighting for something.
Yeah.
I did want to see because I haven't really followed Tottenham at all, but like what's going on with like the Richarlison situation and all that. Like I guess he's like fighting for playing time, but they won't give it to him or something like that. Like,
Well, Conte got sacked now, so I think with like a new manager like in charge, and maybe Richarlison will finally get some playing time. I mean, I think it's just tough for him too because he's a natural left winger, and it's like, why would they take out Heung-min Son for Richarlison? I mean, anyone with a brain wouldn't make that switch. And he definitely can't play on the right because they have Kulusevski there, and you're not going to play Richarlison at striker over Kane. So I think it's just tough. I think that was a bad move by Richarlison to go to Tottenham for sure because it came back to bite him in the ass. But at the same time, I mean, give him a shot at least. I mean, he had one of the best goals of the World Cup. I mean, best.
but do you think
probably
Son has had kind of a down year, especially coming off of a golden boot year?
Yeah. I mean, for sure, but also you can't put that all on Son either though because Conte, like Antonio Conte, was in charge this season and he wasn't in charge last season. So obviously the manager's the one who makes all the tactics and formations and shit too. But like I mean, it definitely Son declined from last season to this season, but it may not all be his fault either though. But
he has 20,
I feel
27 games, 6 goals, and 4 assists.
So, I mean, I feel like if Richarlison, give him a shot at least. Like if he's asking for it, I mean, against these teams like how they just played Everton and which may call it like the ones that are in the relegation battle. Yeah, Southampton. It's like a game like that. Like why risk Son getting injured or some shit? Just let him, sit and start Richarlison. Like I think in a situation like that, I think for sure Richarlison should be getting playing time against teams that are like mediocre or teams that are just bottom of the table. Because why risk injuries? It's just, you know what I mean? Like it's a very. But then again, look, I mean, they didn't play Richarlison, and then they only pulled out draws against those teams. So I mean, it's definitely hard to tell. Like soccer's just one of those things where it's like, bro, if you have a bad game, you have a bad fucking game, and that's it. Like there's nothing else you could do. It's like, fuck, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, but. I think in those scenarios though, I think those are games that Richarlison should get the playing time just to prove himself and fight for his minutes. So
Yeah, and before we move on, I just want to say that there was a really funny comment that I saw. I don't remember if it was on Reddit or Twitter, but it was one or the other, where after Gabriel Jesus scored a goal for Arsenal the other week, someone commented, Gabriel Jesus really got injured for most of the season, comes back and scores a Premier League goal before Richarlison. Richarlison has 0 Premier League goals this season. So I thought that was a very funny It's just like, yeah, that is true. Man gets injured, sits on the bench for months, and then comes back, scores a goal, and now has and still has more goals than Richarlison.
Yeah, I like I said,
It's
I haven't
just
really
crazy.
kept up with the whole situation. I just know he had a pretty decent coming out party for Brazil in the World Cup, but it seemed like nothing really happened after that once they got knocked out.
Yeah.
But let's go over. There's obviously one of the biggest rivalries in the world: Real Madrid versus Barcelona in the Copa del Rey semifinals in leg 2. Real Madrid absolutely embarrasses Barcelona in a 4-1 aggregate score defeat. Oh no, wait, what was the? No, that was just for the game.
Yeah,
No,
that
what
was
was the
for-
aggregate?
It was
5-1.
4-0. The 4-1 was the aggregate. The aggregate was the aggregate was 4-1 Real Madrid. This game was 4-0. So Barcelona
4-0.
came into this with a 1-0 victory in Madrid.
At the Bernabeu. Yeah.
Yeah, and now Real Madrid come to Camp Nou and say fuck you guys. And
Benzema hat trick.
essentially, I mean, I unless you see a shock upset to what is it, Osasuna? How do you
Osasuna.
pronounce that?
Osasuna.
Yeah,
Osasuna. Okay.
Osasuna, yeah.
Unless you predict a shock defeat to Osasuna, Real Madrid have the Copa del Rey now, basically already in their trophy cabinet.
Also, too, shout out to Osasuna for making it to the final of Copa del Rey. It's a big achievement for them. But I will, man, like, look, I'm the.
I mean,
as-
you
I'm
being the
resident Barca-
you being the resident Barca, I was gonna say this has gotta be
This
like
is-
a
yeah, we want to hear
whole-
your because I
All
did
right,
see the
man.
score. I didn't watch too much. What
I
happened?
mean, the only thing that you have is really the league because the Champions League gone, Europa League gone. It's just like it's been like a roller coaster for Barca.
It's to me, it's look. I like to consider myself not the norm when it comes to like other Barca fans because I find as a Barca fan, other Barca fans annoying as fuck and delusional. Like I think
very delusional. I agree.
you-
Barca fans are the most
like-
delusional fans.
like you get I think what it is you get so used to seeing this team being what they were and now trying to see them what they are now. People don't want to accept the fact of what they are. And reality, what it is, it's a bunch of overpaid, overhyped players
who are young
in a
as
system who are young as hell and are in a system I think doesn't fit them.
Yeah.
They're in a situation, and the big the reason why they lost this game was the midfield. The midfield and the fullbacks got absolutely exposed, specifically the midfield. Busquets the dude is washed. Get rid of it.
and you say that, and you say this
God.
every episode too, and
God,
in person,
dude,
every
I mean-
Inter Miami game.
God, dude, the guy is so slow. He's so washed. I don't understand. I mean, you have to play him now because you got De Jong. The things was hurting Barcelona currently is they're suffering from a lot of injuries because you have Dembele out, you have Pedri out, you have De Jong out.
But see, even
You have
Pedri, though-
Christensen, you have Christensen out. But the to me the biggest problem is with Dembele being out, and even beforehand, it's just been bad signing. They've had no way to fill the need on the left wing since Dembele's been gone. Because you did have Dembele and Rafinha on the wings, but then even then, Rafinha has always been a right winger. That's his more natural position is the right side.
Yeah, and then even in this game, they said, "All right, here, Gavi, you do it." I don't
Yeah.
think
But
that's the way to go.
and they don't.
They have been doing it. No, and I think
Well, I know they've
and
been
that's the
doing
si-
it, but
and
I don't
that's the
think I don't think it's the way to go. I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible. It could work against different teams, but I think against Real Madrid, that's not where you want him.
Well, here's the thing. I think the problem is, one, you have no one else to put there because Ansu Fati has been an absolute bust since his injuries. Fernan Torres has been ended up being a terrible signing. The man has done absolutely nothing. He's been atrocious. Even the minutes he comes in, he's so non-effective. Even when he played for Spain in the World Cup, the guy he's just not good. I mean, City fleeced him. Honestly, City fleeced Valencia and City fleeced Barca. I don't it blows my mind. So then you're forced to put in a situation where They did have Pedri playing up in the left wing at times, because there's nowhere else to really to fill that need. Then Pedri gets hurt. Now you're throwing Gavi in there. And these are two guys where their natural positions are not wingers. Like, these guys are eights. You have no true winger on the left side who can break the line, especially now with Dembele out. I think Dembele is better than Rafinha currently.
By far.
And
Dembele is just injury prone. That's his only problem.
And honestly, your best midfield to me is Pedri, De Jong, and Gavi.
Oh no, I think Kessie.
I like Kessie coming off the bench. Kessie made a really bad mistake, which to me made no sense. Like, on that penalty that on Vinicius in the box, I don't understand why they were they were double teaming. And this is a Barca team that's pretty strong defensively, but they were crowding the wings too much, trying to get the ball and then leaving the middle wide open for Benzema to just get in there and just absolutely take advantage of. That second goal with Benzema was left wide open and then you look, everybody's crowding the left side. Busquets is playing the fucking line. I'm like, Busquets, what are you doing, bro? Like, you literally got left exposed and out of position. Like, you need to be in the middle. That's what you're there for. And he was playing the side.
With the manager in his playing days. Played with your manager. And that's the thing. Like I said about Phil earlier in this episode, how Phil was a defender in his playing time. You would think that he would just stack the defense. Why is Xavi not just stacking his midfield? He is a fucking midfielder, one of the best of all time. I just don't understand why his midfield struggles every game. It is so inconsistent.
Yeah, you don't have a stable force, and I think what doesn't help the fact is that you don't have a true left winger. So you're taking one of your midfielders and putting him on the left wing, whether it be Gavi or Pedri. I don't understand the rationale of putting Araujo on the fullback position. I don't understand the purpose of putting Araujo on the fullback position and then having Koundé in the center back. Koundé is a fullback. He plays better at that fullback position. He played there for France.
He's faster.
He looks better there. And we saw that in this game. Vinicius cooked Araujo in that fullback position. He got cooked multiple times. And to me, it's just frustrating to see, because you have this guy, Lewandowski, one of the most prolific strikers of our generation, and you have no one to feed him the ball. And I get in Bayern, he was a target man in Bayern, but he
had Muller feeding him.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
the amount of times I've seen Muller just feed him on a plate and just say, "All right, here you go, Leva, just blast it," and he just would, because that's what he does. It's just, I'm not saying, and I'm not taking anything away from Leva, because he's very good, and he could score goals on his own if he wanted to. But I mean, his positioning and his clinical nature in the box, when you just put the ball near him to get the goals, that's all you got to do. And you got to give him those chances.
Barca's just still stuck, like on Julian said, they're just stuck on the old days, bro. Like when Messi was there, they're stuck on this tiki-taka ball that doesn't work with what you have. Like, that's what I mean.
I don't even think they're playing that. They're just playing this wing play and crossing it into Lewandowski constantly, and he's the only man in the box. Because
and then it's easy to, and then it's much easier to cover him and put bodies on him.
Because you do it for 90 minutes.
Yes, he's Lewandowski, but he's not fucking God. He's not gonna get away. Like, I don't care who you are in professional football. I don't care if you're Ronaldo. I don't care if you're fucking Messi. If you're being covered by like 4 people in the box, you're not going to score as many goals as
they do
you
it
should.
For 90 minutes, and they've done it. They've done it so many times this season, bro. So many times.
And the thing too is that they get away with it, and it's the reason why they're winning the La Liga is because look. Barca, the only team that they beat, and the only reason I thought they could win this game, the only big powerhouse club that they've beat this year has been Real Madrid. They beat Real Madrid twice this season, one in La Liga, and then obviously the first, and then one in the Copa del Rey. But outside of that, who have they beat? They've beaten no one. They've lost to Inter. They've lost to Bayern. They lost to
Man United.
Man United. Like,
And
You're-
they
you're
said-
getting
and in all those games they did the same fucking thing they just did against Real Madrid. German
and they get smoked. Like, I mean, they just been beating up on feeder clubs at the bottom of La Liga and gaining points versus Real Madrid has been dropping points in some time for games that they should be winning. And like, it's no excuse. Like, to me, Xavi's not the answer. The guy, he hasn't changed up tactically. Look, if you don't have a left winger, don't
Then
play a
don't
4-3-3.
Yeah, exactly. Don't run a
I don't
formation that
understand.
includes a left winger. Exactly.
But I would be okay with putting a
Like, run a
Rafinha up there as a
4-5-1.
strike. Or to me, like a 4-4-2. Like, if you want to, like, you have Gavi and Pedri, you can have Busquets play a little deeper because Busquets doesn't have the legs to go up and down as like
just
a
let him,
as
just
like
let him
an
stay
eight.
back. Yeah, just
Let him stay back, and then put whoever you want to put Dijon. Obviously, like I'm talking about, like, if they were healthy, yeah, you put a Dijon and like a Gavi in like your two like sides of the diamond, and then throw Pedri up top as like your 10, and then you have your two strikers in front of you, and let Koundé and whether you want Balde or Alba to go up and down the left side, because like I don't understand why he won't make a tactical change, and I think it's because it's been successful because he. They beat Real Madrid with Gavi playing as the winger. Like, they did. So he's going into the same system of like, all right, like, we know we can beat him with Gavi as a winger or Pedri as a winger. Like, we have no issue with that.
Yeah. And also to
but
point out
now
on
you're
that
losing
same
that
subject-
defensive solidity because Christensen being gone, you have, and then like, I don't know, man. It's and you have no stability at your left back. I don't know. It's crazy. I like Kessie. I don't know if Kessie's a full-time starter. I think if I had to pick my midfield trio, it's to me it's got to be Gavi, De Jong, and Pedri. But you have two guys out, so you got to put in Kessie in there, which I'm okay with. But Busquets, I don't even know why they want to keep him because there's talks of them wanting to keep him, and I get he's the captain, but like you can't bench the captain. But like, dude, like, come on. I mean, you guys haven't beat anybody of note outside of Real Madrid in La Liga games. And the first match
or
of
European
Copa del Rey.
competitions.
Like, so I mean, I think this year's pretty much a wash. Like, yeah, you're gonna win La Liga, finish out the season. But there has to be some wholehearted changes coming into this summer transfer window.
Agreed.
They spent way too much money on these players that aren't just producing. Like Fernan Torres, like, you got to move on from him. Like, and I think they will. They're going to go out there and try to find a left winger. I don't know who's going to be out there available to grab. If they want to stick in this 4-3-3, but to me, Xavi is not the answer. The team has gotten worse since he's gotten into position. The guy, he's not a tactician to me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens for the rest of this season. Or not the rest of the season. We know it's going to happen the rest of the season, but in the off season is what I meant to say.
Oh, and don't even get me started on like the fucking scandals with the financial and the paying the refs and all. Honestly,
we can talk about that another time. There's too much.
They almost make me not even want to be a fan anymore. And I'm just like, just going to main Valencia because like it's been so frustrating to be a fan of them. It's just one thing after another. And honestly, when I'm a fan of them, it makes me feel like a douchebag. Like, I don't know. Like,
but the Barca fans, bro, they're just so delusional because they just think they have fucking Henry, Iniesta, Messi, Ibra. Like, they have this fucking team from 10 years ago again. Like,
Suarez.
it's not fair, bro. Like, you guys lost to fucking Bayern 3 years in a row. We made Messi leave the fucking club because you guys can't win shit. Like, bro.
It's
and
crazy.
then like Julian just said though, like how they're playing like these people at their unnatural positions, and yeah, it worked one time against Real Madrid because you pulled off a fucking lucky win by 1 goal. And then you go into the game again in the second leg doing the same shit. You're playing one of the best managers of all time. You don't think he's going to adjust to that shit? Like, bro,
and one of the best midfields in the world.
Yeah.
Valverde is playing well.
And these dudes have been playing longer than fucking Gavi and Pedri have been alive. Like,
yeah.
And you know what, too? Shout out to Real. Like, I've been a big Camavinga guy. That guy played out of position in left back, and he held his own there. He did really well there.
He did, yeah.
I liked him. Obviously, he was out of position, but he's going to
He's a
be a
quality
really
player.
good player, man.
Yeah,
He's going to be a really
quality
good player once he gets once one of those spots open between
Cruz is retiring after this
Cruz.
season.
Oh,
So-
well, then yeah.
So
So
Yeah,
like,
but like I
yeah,
said, it'll be interesting to see. Well, the off season, the changes that are made because things they can't stay the way they are with Barca.
Barca
No.
just has
So
to.
we'll definitely keep an eye on that as the season winds down.
Barca just
but,
has to
with-
find something new, bro. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you've been knocked out of the Champions League, fucking 3 years in a row now by the same team, which you should tactically know how the fuck they play now. You've been knocked out of Europa League by Man United. Like, it's just I don't know. Barca has shit that they need to figure out, and they
Yeah,
need to figure it out
definitely.
quick because
Uh,
now they're
all
playing
right,
fucking
let's
Conference League ball next season.
not let's
Not even.
let's move
Yeah, no,
over to
they're out of that too.
Let's move over to Germany in the Bundesliga. Before we get into it, Tyler, you're shaking a lot right now. Okay, now you're good.
My bad.
Okay. So Tyler, I want to get your thoughts. So Bayern lost a big match in their domestic cup, I believe. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not even.
Yes, it's the DF.
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
the
even-
DFP Pokal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
and
managed.
then
I've
we
managed
also-
too many years in Football Manager to know exactly what it's called.
All right, and then we also want to get your thoughts on the Tuchel hire. Did you think it was like a shocker?
We talked about it last week, but now that you're here,
do you think Nagelsmann shouldn't like? Do you think he was done dirty? Like, I just want to get like your thoughts as somebody who's a diehard Bayern fan on one, the loss, and two, the hiring of Thomas Tuchel.
So
And Der Klassiker win.
Yeah, so starting off with the Der Klassiker, I mean, bringing in Tuchel, who's a German national, just like Nagelsmann
former
was.
Dortmund manager as well.
Yeah, former Dortmund manager as well. So, obviously 10 months ago, the man just won a Champions League at Chelsea too. So I like Tuchel. I think he was done dirty by Chelsea, if you ask me, to be honest. Like I think him there now with what Chelsea has, I think Chelsea's playing a lot better if he was there. But we looked really, really good in the Der Klassiker. I mean, I'm very confident that we don't drop first place the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's just we've just had our ups and downs as far as injuries and shit like that, but I don't think we lose the top of the table anymore rest of the season. But so yeah, Dortmund. I mean, yeah, they've had a few good games this season, few good runs, but I mean, honestly, I think between them and Union Berlin, they're both obviously fighting for second, and they play each other in just I think 2 days, if I'm not mistaken. But I think Nagelsmann was for sure done dirty, if you ask me. Like, I mean, the dude only dropped, I think, like 2 or 3 games this season in the Bundesliga, something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
And he had Bayern being the best team in Champions League.
Yeah,
Probably
we haven't conceded. Yeah, we haven't conceded a single goal the whole competition yet. Still, and I mean, it's not like we've been sitting here playing easy teams. Like
that's
were
the
in
most
group of
surprising
death.
thing to me.
Yeah,
That was a tough group.
Yeah, we were in the group of
Tough
death.
group, tough draw, and still.
Yeah, and we still haven't dropped a single goal. We haven't conceded a single goal in Champions League under Nagelsmann. So, I mean, Tuchel obviously has Champions League experience, so I'm not like sweating it going in, especially Man City. I mean, they have 0 Champions Leagues in their history, so I'm really not sweating that at all. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Man City under Pep has 5 Champions Leagues to his name, so I mean, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and doubt Pep Guardiola, but I'll doubt Man City for sure, because the only one that's really consistent on that team is Haaland. And if you shut Haaland down, you shut Man City down. It's very easy to shut Man City down, and Bayern knows how to shut Haaland down very easily. We've done it for 4 years, so it's it's not something that we're new to.
Yeah, that's actually fair. Yeah, it's fair point. Fair point.
Yeah. So it's not something we're new to for sure. So I'm confident in Tuchel. I think Bayern under him, we're still favorites to win the Bundesliga and the Champions League. we may start conceding goals now in Champions League, but I still don't think we lose it under him.
Yeah,
Nagelsmann was
my
definitely
thing that
done
I was
dirty though. I was reading, and I'm pretty sure it said something about like it was as far as like him with like the players and shit like that. Like it was the chemistry between them. Like he would do like the players kind of dirty. Like Musiala, for example, who's been playing out of his mind, Golden Boy favorite, shit like that. Like he would just like I don't know, like he would take Musiala out for like no reason whatsoever. Like he's not even tired or anything. He's not playing bad. He just takes him out. And so I guess Oliver Kahn, our president of operations and all that, I guess he just didn't like that he's obviously mistreating and like being unfair to our players who are performing well and shit. So, I don't know. I think Nagelsmann definitely dug his own grave, but I definitely think that they should have waited till the end of the year at least to get rid of him and actually give you more in-depth detail of why. So,
Yeah, I thought that was the one thing I was telling Adam is like it's just weird to do it at this point in the season, right towards
Yeah, it
the
was
end.
weird timing.
Obviously, you're in.
I mean, with all these competitions going on, the Champions League and everything, it's just.
It's like
I think this is what I said last week is that there must have been something else, internally or something behind the scenes or something that the board knew or has been watching that made them go, this is the right decision to do mid-season. Because I mean, you see sackings mid-season like in England. I mean, Chelsea, they don't know. I don't count them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. They've always done that. But you have Conte being sacked for Tottenham. I mean, some of these. I mean, it's a different situation, obviously.
And I mean,
but there are reasonable. Yes, and there are reasonable situations to sack your manager. With Bayern performing the way they did, that's why I was saying there has to be something that the board knows that freaking Oliver Kahn is aware of that led him to say, what, this is what we should do, because it just doesn't make any sense that they would just say, hey, you know what, let's do it because we think this will be better. There had to have been something, because when you're a team like Bayern and you're running the board at Bayern, I feel like you have to make those decisions with intent and with knowledge, not just saying, fuck it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying that I thought was.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I was gonna say that was the one thing I thought that was just weird, because it's like, this isn't even mid-season. I mean, like we're like, about
the second half, like starting the second half,
just under two.
Oh, even more than that.
Left. No, it's just under 2 months left, and it's like you're in a position where you're doing well. Yeah, you kind of struggled a little bit in the beginning, but like now you're back, and now you're pretty much like, I don't think the league was ever a threat. And it's like, do you really want to mess up the chemistry of what's going on, like right towards the end?
Yeah,
that was the one thing I thought was weird, and maybe we are seeing it. I mean, once they beat Dortmund in the Der Klassiker, I was like, all right, maybe everything's fine. But then they just lost this game. All right, now let's switch over to this game.
Yeah,
Tyler, do you think that loss was telling?
So, I mean, I don't think it was really telling. I mean, Bayern, as much as this sucks for me to say, but even in our best years, like Loa, Neuer, Mueller, even with Ribery, Mandzukic, and like Robin, when they were there, like Bayern in our domestic cup in the DFB Pokal, we've just always been known to just lose to some team that should not beat us. So I'm not really sweating that too much. And I mean, obviously it sucks because we were fighting for a sextuple. Now we can only get a treble because Champions League, Bundesliga, and then I forget what. Oh no, there's no Club World Cup. Never mind. So yeah, we were fighting for a treble, but now obviously we can't get that because we're out of our domestic cup. But I don't know. I think we're just notorious, like I said, to just dropping games in that domestic cup to teams that we should never drop it to. And I mean, honestly, we should have never even lost anyways, because we lost on a 95th minute penalty. In my opinion,
that's what I was going to say. All I really have to say about this game is, first of all, I agree with you. I think that the cup competitions. You could say that about any cup competition. There's always that risk of
Yeah, because you're
of
playing
an upset.
teams that know how you play because you play them multiple times a year. So it's like,
And if it seemed, I don't want to say it was like anything serious, but it seemed like there was a touch of rotation. They definitely had a stronger squad out there, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but to say that they're putting out the same 11 that they would want to put out against Dortmund in the Der Klassiker, I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
And losing in the 90th minute penalty, it's a little unlucky. They you lose a game, there's, especially at home, some things didn't go right. But if I was a Bayern fan, I wouldn't be worried about it. I mean, look at me at Arsenal. I mean, we're the most successful at the FA Cup, and even this year where we're freaking challenging for the league, and that's what we're going for. We're out of all of it. We're out of the Europa League. We're out of the FA Cup. We're out of the Carabao Cup, which ended already, but you get the point.
And
So
that's
we're
what I'm
out
saying,
of all of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like Bayern, it's not like we lost to like a bottom table team. I mean, we lost to the team who's in 4th place. So it's, you know what I mean? It's not like we went in there playing fucking like Wolfsburg. Like we're playing
Augsburg.
or Stuttgart. Like we're playing like fucking Freiburg, who's 4th on the table, who are above Leipzig, who are one of the Bundesliga powerhouses for the past few years. They're usually top 3 on the table. So it's like, I'm not sweating it too much. It's whatever. Our trophy cabinet's full anyways. But I mean, honestly, Champions League and Bundesliga should be the 2 priorities. And Bundesliga, like I said, I'm very confident that we do not drop out of 1st place the rest of the year. Especially because we have our full healthy squad back. We have no one injured anymore. Mane being out for those few months that he was out really hurt us a lot, because I mean Bayern's just known for
he was basically the Levy replacement in terms of goals.
And I mean, look at Liverpool. They got rid of him, and Liverpool's been in shambles since. Like Bayern, especially because we're known for our counterattack and our pace, and that's how we kill a lot of teams. Gnabry, Sané, Mane, even Choupo-Moting, he kind of filled in as like lowest target man position,
which is whenever our wings great collapse, for him. And at 34 years old, and it's good to see him actually. But it goes to show you how quality that midfield is. I've said this before. A lot of people would argue that like there's other teams. I've always thought, at least for the past like 2-3 years, that Bayern have the best midfield in the world. I'm sorry, but I would take Leon Goretzka and Kimmich on my team any day of the week. I don't care. Any day of the week, I'll take those 2 because they're so versatile. I mean, Kimmich can play anywhere.
He used to play right back. He used to
play right back. Play right back. He play midfield. Yeah. I mean, he is so good. Goretzka is so consistent. I love that midfield. I've always loved, and Muller is just Muller. But so I've always been a fan of the Bayern midfield, so that they can even turn someone like Choupo-Moting. Yeah, everyone can score.
Everyone can score.
And the strongest teams can do that. They don't have to rely on.
That's one thing I love. Like I said about Man City. That's why I'm very confident in the Champions League that Tuchel has that Champions League experience already. He has experience against Man City, and Bayern has experience against Haaland. So I'm really not sweating it too much. You shut down Haaland, and then it's like now you have to play a guessing game of who's going to step up on City, because City is so inconsistent about who scores on that team. Haaland is the only consistent scorer. It's like City, every now and then Grealish may snag a goal or Mahrez may snag a goal. It's so inconsistent in Man City compared to Bayern. Bayern has just always been consistent as far as anyone can score, and we adjust to how they're playing, and we adjust it early. So
De Bruyne has been playing out of his mind with his past.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne, he's another one too, though. I mean, he came from the Bundesliga. So it's like he's another one that we know how to play against too. So, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many like factors going into this Champions League run against City. We still haven't conceded a goal yet either, and it's not like we don't have Neuer. we had Neuer, I'd be super confident now. But
Oh yeah,
Summer has been a terrific signing. I thought even against like
yeah, he's
PSG,
been
like Mbappe was
solid.
hunting that
You got to,
shit.
yeah. We've given him credit on this podcast and other episodes because he stepped in some really big
Like
shoes to fill,
Summer, I
and he's
think you
done the
could say
job.
is probably signing of the year in like top 5 leagues. Like I mean, I understand he's a goalkeeper, so it's kind of hard to compare him to like a
Yeah,
midfielder
a
or
lot
an
of people don't
attacker.
like
Where,
talking about that. Yeah,
yeah, but goalkeepers, man, they're like the quarterback sometimes. It's like without a good goalkeeper, you are pretty much fucked. And I hated Ulreich. We still have him, and I pray Summer stays healthy. But I hate Ulreich with a passion. He is so bad. Even like Ter Stegen, when Ter
yeah.
Stegen first went to Barca, because Ter Stegen backed up Neuer his whole career, like for the national team. I noticed a lot, like when Ter Stegen first went to Barca, Ter Stegen was always getting chipped because he was always playing like outside of the box like Neuer does. And now if you watch Ter Stegen, he never leaves the box anymore because he just knows that his ass will get chipped and he can't do anything about it. So that's what
Well,
I'm saying. Like Bayern has just been, I don't know, and that's not even like biasy, but it's just like Bayern is just one of those teams that like they just do everything right. And going back to the Nagelsmann sacking, Bayern's very loyal on their past players and shit and present players because all of our front office is past Bayern players. Lothar Matthäus, Oliver Kahn, I can't think of his name. It's like fucking 3 long ass names, but he was our old striker too.
Yeah,
All 3 of them are like the 3 heads of our front office, and so they take loyalty very seriously. So that's what I mean. It's like Bayern will do everything they can to make sure that we get the respect in the team and out of the team, like for fans and shit too. So I don't know. I'm very confident Bundesliga and Champions League can definitely go under our belt. I think I could picture almost like a Bayern Madrid final, or no,
Yeah.
it can't be Madrid, but it would be Bayern. I'd say like AC Milan or some shit like that. Or
well,
where the fuck does Oshiman
get it
play?
out, Tyler. Get it out.
Where's Oshiman play? Lazio? No, not
Inter?
Lazio. Yeah, I think Inter. Something like that. Whatever fucking Italian team Oshiman plays for. I can't think right now off the top of my head, but
Well, let's end it right there. This is a good episode, guys. Yeah. So I think we all did good here, man. I think we all did good. This is the end of episode 6 here. You guys know where to find us anywhere you get your podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, on all the social medias. You know where to find us. We'll be back next week. And yeah, we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.